All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Discovering Multifamily podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Anthony Scandariato, here with Red Knight Properties. And today we have a special guest here with us coming from Southern California, right outside of San Diego, Greg Butcher. And he is the managing partner of Blue Sky Equity Partners. He's been around for a while. He's an experienced real estate investor. He started his career by investing in single family homes when he was a Marine Corps officer and had a really good experience with that, but was trying to figure out how we could really scale the single family business and had an aha moment when he was learning about multifamily real estate, about syndications. I started to join some educational and mentoring programs. And, he has since retired from the active duty Marine Corps officership. And since then, it's been almost 10 years now, has been investing in over $160 million worth of real estate, which is a little bit over 1,100 units as both a general partner and a limited partner. And he's very involved in the real estate community in the San Diego area. He's also a coach now for other folks looking to get started in multifamily, whether that's on the general partner side or limited partner side. And today on the show, we're going to talk about kind of what the differences between a general partner and a limited partner are if you're looking to invest in multifamily real estate, and how there are multiple different streams of income, whether you are on the general partner side, which is the active side, or the limited partner side on the passive side. So it'll be very interesting to hear Greg's perspective, and thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Anthony. Appreciate being on the show.
Sure. So can you talk about like your first experience in multifamily syndications? Were you on the general partner side or limited partner side?
My first time was actually on the limited partner side. That was shortly after finding out about multifamily syndications, both about the multifamily real estate side and about the power of investing through syndications and group investments. So I had joined a program on that, and I was still learning and trying to figure out how it all worked. But I wanted to go ahead and put some of my money to work at the same time as I was learning. So I went ahead and invested in a couple of syndications as a limited partner or a passive investor, just right off the bat, just to get my money working for me and also to learn through that process. And for passive investors, if they're investing with general partners who will take the time to help explain things, answer questions, and kind of coach them along, that helps them learn throughout the process. So that it's a stepping stone towards them being able to possibly become a general partner themselves at some point, if that's in their goals.
Nice. And so you were a limited partner first. So how was that experience for you? And are you still a limited partner in real estate transactions moving forward, or are you more of a general partner, or are you a combination of both?
I'm a combination of both right now. I do have some deals I've invested in. I'm investing right now as a limited partner, but I'm leaning more right now, the majority, towards being a general partner. But that's just based on where my own position is right now to be able to invest. Also, at some point here in the future, with one or two of the properties sell, there'll be a big cash influx, and then I'll probably put some of that money back in passively also. I think, ultimately, a lot of us get into real estate investing for the time freedom aspect of things. And that was certainly a big part of it for me. So at some point, I think the end goal can be passive investing only, or at least the majority of your time spent passive investing. And that way you create more time freedom for yourself that way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's definitely pros and cons to each. So what would you say the pros and cons are if you kind of broke down the two categories for each? And, does it depend upon experience level or, really how you value your time, or you just don't want to deal with it? What are the pros and cons to each?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a large part of it is how you value your time, but also, what your other income sources are at the time also. So for people, if someone who, and how you value that work that you're doing too. So if someone really enjoys their job, they really enjoy their career, but they want to make additional money and create new income streams for themselves, then passive investing may be a great way to do that. On the general partnership side, the benefit, of course, is that it can be a lot more lucrative. You can, the income that you get from it can be, several times what a passive investor gets between the different fees that are involved and in income streams involved on the general partnership side. That said, it can quickly become a full-time job, even with just a couple of properties. And you have to, it helps to work with a team and have systems in place to be able to manage different aspects of the deal in dealing with your investors and answering their questions, taking care of, taxes and investor K-1s and things like that. So it can quickly become a full-time job. So I'd say if people really enjoy their career and they're not looking to take on another job on the side, then maybe passive investing is the way to go. But again, that can also be a stepping board to step up into the GP arena if that's part of their goal, is to get rid of their whatever their day job is, so to speak, and get more actively involved in real estate.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And so you mentioned, so you started out as limited partner, now you're more of a general partner. And how did you find other general partners to team up with? Because you mentioned a team and how important that is. How did you find that?
Yeah, so I found the partners that I've worked with through some of the networks that I've been associated with. There's so many great multifamily networks out there, whether it's a paid mentoring program or just some of the groups that get together on Zoom occasionally or for webinars or different things. So there's a lot of people out there who are trying to get involved as GPs. There's also a lot of people who are just looking for partners. They don't want to go it alone. So that's how I've ended up finding all my partners on deals, is through those different groups that I've been a part of.
Yeah. And how are you able to vet your partners, whether they're on the passive side or active side?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's most important on the active side, and so I always vet my partners to be fellow GPs, and I would recommend that every passive investor do the same. So I look at their track record, I look at where they come from, how they got started in the industry, are they in one of the educational mentoring networks, and how long they've been a part of it. How many deals they've been a part of as a limited partner and as a passive, as a general partner, what's their loan history is, their financial acumen is important too as a GP. Do they have any kind of depth of liquidity, resources, both for qualifying for a loan in the first place. And as we're seeing these days, we're finally in economic winter right now. Not every deal is going the best. So it's important that GPs have the ability to contribute additional funds to keep a property afloat if need be, until we are out of this more negative climate.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely important given all the challenges. What are some of the challenges you're seeing now moving forward in the business?
I'd say part of it is just scaling right now, meeting the right partners to put together a permanent team. I've had episodic partners so far, so that's been one thing. There are some potentials we're in discussions with right now, and then also I would say just having the right team for the loan, and getting the right loans in this business. So the debt is probably the most important aspect of the transaction, one of the most important aspects of the transaction. So really nailing that down and having the best option that's flexible, have multiple exit options on a deal, is highly important. So
Yeah, for sure. And kind of talk about the experience. Have you had any negative experience as a limited partner or general partner in terms of maybe not what you were looking for, and if so, were you able to learn from that, and how would you apply it, to your business moving forward?
absolutely, yes. I have had a couple negative experiences as a limited partner myself. And I think the biggest thing wasn't about whether the property, whether the project met its pro forma or not. It was really about how the lead sponsors communicated with the limited partners. That's one of the most important things. And I would recommend, before anyone invests with a general partner, ask for a sample of their communications. Ask for a sample of one of their investor updates. How much information do they send? I invested passively with a couple parties who would send out a quick email update once a month, and they were pretty reliable with it, and they would attach the financials, but it was really nothing more than, here's our occupancy, here's our total income, here's our total expenses, here's our NOI at the end. There wasn't enough color to understand really what was going on with the project. So personally, me, and I only work with people who have the same philosophy as me, would rather over communicate than under communicate. So we tend to send out very detailed and monthly updates to our investors with graphs of how our total income is doing compared to budget. Same with our expenses, our NOI compared to budget and compared to our original pro forma. And with narratives on why we are where we are, what any challenges are we're facing right now, what we're doing right now with CapEx, capital improvements in the property and things like that.
And what markets are you focused in?
I'm in the southwestern U.S., so I'm based out of California. Like I said before, my biggest focus is in Arizona, on Phoenix and in Tucson. So I have properties in both those cities. But I also have a property in Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, one in suburbs of Denver, Colorado, and then I've been a co-sponsor on a couple properties in Houston as well.
And are you looking to expand more in those markets, or are you looking at new markets? You mentioned right now the challenges are growing. So is that one of the challenges, just trying to find other markets, or finding good opportunities, or what?
Really just finding good opportunities. I'm not trying too hard to expand outside this current market, the current markets that I'm in right now. It's enough keeping tabs on all of those. Now, that said, if I formed a permanent partnership with someone who had a different geographic focus, then that might be a way to go about doing things also. Or maybe, I focus in Arizona and someone else focuses in, Arkansas, for example, just to throw out something there. So that's definitely one way to go about doing things.
Yeah. And what do you do for property management?
We always use third-party property management. We don't have anything like vertically integrated right now, but we always keep several property management companies as that we would work with. So if we had to switch, we could, and it has become necessary a couple times before.
Yeah, that's definitely a challenging aspect, but it's good when you have properties centralized in different, couple of regions, so you can build your management team, even if it is third party. Can you talk about, opportunities that you're looking for? Like what would be, you mentioned, we're in a negative economic environment right now. In this environment, what's your perfect type of deal or opportunity that you're looking for?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Thank you for that. So I'd say that right now, what I'm looking for is a 1980s or newer property I'm really leaning towards B class, like 1990s B class. Could go a little, to the 80s, could go down to a C plus, but really I like that B class product right now. It is more recession resistant, and definitely, it kind of performs the best when there is a recession. Also, one of the big challenges we're having in the multifamily industry right now is insurance. Insurance on our properties, and we've had a couple surprises on renewals on a couple of our properties. And right now, the insurance companies have kind of pulled back some. And some are kind of exiting the market a little bit. Some are pulling back on the types of properties they'll insure, and even older properties they will, if they insure it, they'll jack the premiums up pretty substantially. So that's one more reason, for us to stick to the B class properties that are a little bit newer, have some more newer features. If you're talking about a property that has a fire suppression system, when it was built, when code required that, then that ends up being lower insurance premiums than an older property that doesn't have that kind of thing, for example. So
Yeah. And you're finding a lot of that in the Western hemisphere of the country?
we're finding some. They're slow. The deal volume is slow right now, which anyone involved in the industry is probably aware of that. But I do believe that we're starting to see more and more deals coming out. I'm seeing it, particularly in Phoenix, but also in Denver, and starting to see more in Dallas Fort Worth also. So yeah, I like where things are going. I think that now that the Fed is kind of slowing down on the interest rate hikes, and I think there will be a pause here before long, that will really loosen things up and start to bring some more deals to light. Plus, there are going to be sellers who had short-term loans, they had short-term bridge loans from the last few years, who have to get out of their loan, and they have to either refi it or to sell. So I think there's going to be some deals available. I've already seen a couple of them, actually.
That's excellent. Yeah, hopefully take advantage of that. Well, awesome. As we wind down the show, Greg, how can my audience find out about you, learn more, and connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So the best way would be to go to my website is for Blue Sky Equity Partners is blusky-equity.com. And if they go to /webinar, I have a free webinar that people can download and watch. It's about how to recession-proof your retirement with hands-off commercial real estate investing. And if you sign up for that webinar, there is a link there to schedule a meeting with me as well.
Nice. And we'll have a link to that on our iTunes description as well as on our social media. And if you liked what you heard and or saw today, please give us a rating and review on iTunes. It would help Greg and my message get out to a larger audience. That's just the way the algorithm works. So we really appreciate that. And looking forward to staying in touch, Greg, and hopefully having you on again soon.
Thanks a lot for having me on, Anthony.